Okay, welcome back. So we're continuing to read the Nirvana Sutra. Um, and we're just gonna jump in where we left off. Then all the bhikshus said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, you, the Buddha, said before that all things have no self, that we should practice this and that. When practiced, the thought of self goes away. And that once the thought of self is done away with, one does away with arrogance, and that arrogance once done away with, one gains nirvana. Thus did you say, how might we understand this?
The Buddha said to all the bhikshus, well said, well said. You ask this question and intend to dispel your doubt. Imagine there is a king who is dull-witted. He has little wisdom, and there is a doctor who is obstinate. But the king does not know this and pays him a salary. The doctor uses the products of milk to cure all illnesses. Also, he does not know where the illnesses come from. He may be versed in the medicine of milk, but for him there exists no difference between a cold and a fever. He prescribes milk for all illnesses. This king where'd it go?
So this king's up here. Was unaware. So
This king was unaware that this doctor was ignorant of the pleasing and non-pleasing, the good and bad aspects of milk. But there was a doctor who knew 8 different treatments for illnesses and who was able to cure all diseases. This doctor was versed in prescription and medicines and had come from a far-off place. And the king's doctor did not know how to ask and learn. He was rash and haughty. So the learned doctor cordially invited the king's doctor and looked up to him as his master and asked of him the secret of treatment. He said to the king's doctor, I now invite you and make you my teacher. Please be good enough to teach me. The king's doctor said, if you serve me for 48 years, I will teach you the art of medicine. Then at these words, the learned doctor said, I shall do as you tell me. I shall do my best and run errands. Then the king's doctor, taking the learned doctor along with him, went to see the king. At this, the visiting doctor explained to the king the various ways of treatment.
Oh, that's the end of the page. We have a new clicker. Seeing how far it scrolls. So it's just page to page. At this,
the visiting doctor explained to the king the various ways of treatment and even other things. He said, please know, O great king, know well, this Dharma is like this, and you will well cure illnesses. On hearing this, the king recognized the ignorance and lack of knowledge of his own doctor. He at once drove him out of the country, and he respected the new doctor all the more. Then the new doctor said to himself, it is now time to teach the king. He said to the king, O great king, if you truly love me, please make me a promise. The king replied, I shall give you, should you desire it, even my right hand or any part of my body. The new doctor said, you may give me all statues, but I myself do not wish to have much. What I desire you to do for me is to proclaim to the people of every corner of your land that henceforth they are not to use the milk medicine, which the former doctor told them to use. Why not? Because much harm and poisonous results arise. Any person who still takes this medicine should be beheaded. And if the milk medicine is not used, there will be no untimely deaths. All will go in peace. That is why I asked this of you. Then the king said, what you asked me to do is trifle. I shall at once issue an order to see to it that anyone who is ill does no take milk as medicine. Any person who does will be beheaded. At this, the learned doctor made several kinds of medicine, which tasted pungent, salty, sweet, and sour. With these, treatment was given, and there was no case in which illness could not be cured.
After some time, the king himself became ill, and the doctor was called in. The king said, "I am now ill. How am I to be cured?" The doctor thought about the illness of the king and saw that the milk medicine was good. So he said to the king, "What you are now suffering from can very well be cured by milk. What I said before about the milk medicine was not true. If you take it now, you will be cured. You are now suffering from a fever. It is right that you should take milk." Then the king said to the doctor, "Are you mad? Is it a fever? And you say that if I take milk, it will cure me. Before you said it was poison. Now you tell me to take it. How is this? Do you mean to cheat me? What the former doctor said was good. You despised it and said it was poison. You made me drive him away. Now you say that it well cures illness. From you say the former doctor ought to excel you. I think it's from what you say. The former doctor ought to excel you.
Then the learned doctor said to the king, "O king, do not say this, please. A worm eats on wood, and a letter comes out. This worm does not know anything of letters. A wise person sees this, but he does not say that this worm understands letters, and he is not overcome by surprise. O great king, please know." So was it also with the former doctor. To all illnesses he gave medicine made from milk. This is as in the case of the worm that eats on wood, as a result of which a form like a letter emerges. The former doctor did not know how to distinguish between the pleasing and non-pleasing aspects, the good and the bad. Then the king wanted to know. "What do you mean he did not know?" The guest doctor answered the king, "This milk medicine is harmful, but is also a manna. How can how can you say that this milk is manna? If you milking cow has not taken the leaves, the slippery grass, and the wheat refuse, and if the calf fares well, and if the cow is not grazed too high up on the land or in a low, wet place, if the cow is given pure water and not made to run or made to live among the bulls, and if feeding is done regularly, and if the place it lives in is fit, the milk gained from such a cow well does away with all illnesses. This can well be called the manna of medicine. Any other milk is poison."
On hearing this, the king praised the great doctor. Well said, O great doctor. Today, for the first time in my life, I know the pleasing and the non-pleasing, that which is good and not good in the milk medicine. Taking this, I am now well. I shall at once proclaim to the people that they may well take the milk medicine. On hearing this, the people of the country, angry and resentful, said, "The great king is now caught by a devil. Is he mad? He cheats us and makes us take milk." All the people, angry and resentful, came to the king. The king said to them, "Be not angry and have no resentment. To take milk or to not take it at all comes from the science of medicine. I am not to blame." At this, the great king and the people all jumped for joy. They all the more respected and honored the doctor and made offerings to him. That is how the people took the milk medicine and regained their health. Slowly.
Know, O you bhikshus, the same is the case with the Tathagata, the alms-deserving, the all-enlightened one, the unsurpassed best trainer, the teacher of heaven and earth, the Buddha world-honored one. He comes as a great doctor and subdues all Tirtikas and bad doctors. In the presence of kings and all people, he says, I shall become the king of doctors and subdue Tirtikas. Thus we say, there is no self, no man, no being, no life, no nurturing, no knowing, none that does, and none that receives. O bhikshus, know that what the Tirthikas say is like the case of a worm that eats upon wood, from which by chance there appears what looks like a letter. Because of this, the Tathagata teaches and says, no self. This is to adjust beings, and because he is aware of the occasion. Such non-self is, as occasion arises, spoken of, and it is said that there is the self. This is as in the case of the learned doctor, who knows well the medicinal and non-medicinal qualities of milk. It is not as with common mortals who might measure the size of their own self. Common mortals and the ignorant may measure the size of their own self and say, it is like the size of a thumb, like a mustard seed, or like the size of a mote. When the Tathagata speaks of self, in no case are things thus. That is why he says all things have no self.
Even though he has said that all phenomena are devoid of the self, it is not that they are completely / truly devoid of the self. What is this self? Any phenomena that is true, real, eternal, sovereign, autonomous, self-governing, and whose ground / foundation is unchanging is termed the self. This is as in the case of the great doctor, who well understands the milk medicine. The same is the case with the Tathagata. For the sake of beings, he says, there is the self in all things. O you, the 4 classes, learn Dharma thus.
The Buddha said to all the bhikshus, if you have any doubt about the moral precepts, you are free to ask questions. I shall now explain and fully satisfy you. I have already practiced the way and clearly attained the true nature of the all void of all things. All bhikshus, only the Tathagata has practiced the true nature of the all void of all things. He also said to the bhikshus, if you have any doubts, ask me, all of you. Then the bhikshu said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, with the wisdom that we have, we can put no questions to the Tathagata, the all-deserving, the all-enlightened one. Why not? The world of the Tathagata cannot be known by us. All samadhis cannot be thought of. Whatever is said is not within the compass of our comprehension. So with what wisdom we have, there can be no posing of questions to the Tathagata. O world-honored one, there is a man, for example, who is 120 years old. Suffering from a long illness, he is in bed and cannot get up. His vitality has gone so that he cannot live long. There is a rich man there who is on his way to far-off places on business. He gives this man 100 pounds of gold and says, I intend to go on a journey and entrust this treasure to you. After 10 or 20 years, I shall come back when my business is concluded. When I am home again, give this back to me. The sick old man receives it, and he has none to succeed him. After some time, the illness develops and he dies, and what was entrusted to him cannot be found. The person who entrusted the treasure to him comes back from his journey, looks around but cannot find the man. One like this, being ignorant, cannot think and weigh the good and bad of entrusting a thing to the hands of another person. So on coming back, he does not know where to look. Thus the treasure gets lost. O world-honored one, it is the same with us Shravakas. We hear the kind of inclination of the Tathagata, but we cannot hold it long. It is as with the old man who is entrusted with treasure. We are ignorant now and do not know what to ask regarding the precepts. The Buddha said to the bhikkhus, "If you question me now, it will benefit all beings. That is why I say that you should ask about any doubts you may have." Then all the bhikkhus said to the Buddha, "O world-honored one, imagine, for example, there is a man here of 25, full of vitality and right and proper. He has many treasures, such as gold, silver, beryl, etc. He has his parents, wife, children, relatives, and all his family. Then a man comes and hands over a treasure to him, saying, 'I have things to do and am about to go on this long journey. My business concluded, I shall be back. When I am back home, return this to me.' After this, the young man guards the treasure well, as though it were his own. The man falls ill and says, 'All this gold was entrusted to my care. When the man gets back home, give this to him.' One who is wise knows how to act and weigh things. His business concluded, the man returns, and what he had entrusted is all safe, with nothing lost. The same with the world-honored one. If the treasure is entrusted to Ananda and the bhikkhus, it cannot survive long. Why not? Because all Sravakas and Mahakasyapa must pass away, and the situation will inevitably be like that of the old man who receives the entrusted goods of the other person. Because of this, all the unsurpassed Buddhist teachings must be entrusted to the hands of all bodhisattvas. They discuss well, and the treasure will live long and flourish for infinite thousands of ages and benefit all beings enormously. This is like the case of the man in the prime of his life who receives the entrusted goods of the other person. Because of this, all bodhisattvas can well pose questions. What wealth we have may be likened to a mosquito or sawfly. How can we question the Tathagata on the depths of the teaching? At this, all Sravakas sank into silence.
Then the Buddha praised all the bhikkhus and said, it is good that you have all attained the unleakable mind of the Arhat. I also thought of this once myself. Because of these two circumstances, I entrust the Mahayana to all the bodhisattvas and allow this wonderful Dharma to live long. Then the Buddha said to all the congregation, O all good men and women, you cannot calculate the length of my life. No unhindered speech of a bodhisattva can fully express this. You may, if you will, think or ask me about the precepts or how to take refuge. You may do this a second or third time. At that time, among the
At that time, among those congregated, there was a bodhisattva Mahasattva of the stage of the boyhood of abode. He had been born into a Brahmin family in a hamlet called Tara. His family name was Mahakasyapa. By the divine power of the Buddha, he rose from his seat, bared his right elbow, and walked around the Buddha 100,000 times. And placing his right knee on the ground and folding his hands, said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, I would now like to ask something of the Buddha. If you will allow me, I desire to speak. The Buddha said to Kasyapa, the Tathagata, the alms-deserving and all-enlightened one, allows you to say anything. I shall expound for you, clarify your doubt, and gladden you. The Bodhisattva Kasyapa again said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, the Tathagata, pitying me, gives me permission. I now shall ask. But the wisdom that I have is petty, like that of a mosquito or sawfly. You, Tathagata, world-honored one, are exalted in personal virtue and are surrounded by a retinue as fragrant as sandalwood and as difficult to subdue and as invincible as a lion. The Tathagata's person is like a true diamond. You shine like burying. All is true and difficult to break and is surrounded by a great sea of wisdom. All the Bodhisattva Mahasattvas congregated here are perfect in infinite and boundless depths of virtue. They are like Gandhahastins. How can I put questions before such a congregation? Only now, guarded by the Buddha's divine power and by dint of the great dignity of moral virtue of the people congregated here, shall I put some questions to you. He spoke in Agatha. Is that it? Yeah.
How do we gain long life? The adamantine and invincible body. How do we gain great strength? How, by this sutra, do we ultimately attain the other shore? We beseech you to open the undisclosed door, and for the sake of beings, teach us widely. How can we, for the sake of the masses, become an expansive refuge, and although not arhats, be equal to arhats? How can we, for the sake of beings, foresee papiyas, disturbances? How can one clearly distinguish between what the Tathagata says and what the papiyas says? How does the all-best trainer become pleased in heart and speak about Paramartha Satya? Become full in right good and speak about the four inversions. How do you do good? O great Rishi, please tell us now. How do bodhisattvas fathom the unfathomable nature? How do they understand the significations of the full letter and the half letter? How can we simultaneously practice two holy actions, such as the sarasa and paranda that go together? How can one be like the sun and moon, like the evening star and Jupiter? How can one, not yet aspiring, be called a bodhisattva? How can all beings gain fearlessness, like Jambandhanada gold, in which no flaw can ever be detected? How can one, though living in a defiled land, not be defiled like the lotus flower? How do we live amidst delusion and not get tainted and not attacked by diseases, as in the case of a doctor who, curing all diseases, does not himself get stricken by disease? How can one be a sea captain, foundering, yet amidst the sea of birth and death? How can one abandon birth and death as a serpent does its old skin? How can one meditate on the three treasures and be like the tree in the heavens that answers well one's wishes? How can one speak about the three vehicles and the natureless? How can one talk of bliss being not yet blessed with bliss? How can all bodhisattvas be indestructible ones? How can one be the eye and guide for a person born blind? How can one gain a multifarious head? We beseech you, O great Rishi, please explain to us. How can you who turn the wheel of Dharma expand like the moon at the beginning of the month? How do you show yourself again and gain nirvana in the end? How can you, the brave, step forward and show to man, heaven and Mara the way? How does one know Dharmata and become blessed with Dharma? How do all bodhisattvas make away with all illness? How do they expound to all beings the undisclosed teachings? How do they expound the ultimate and the non-ultimate? If doubts done away with, why not definitely explained? How can one attain the highest and unsurpassed way? I now beseech the Tathagata, for the sake of all bodhisattvas, to expound the deepest and most wonderful teachings. Everything has the nature of peace and bliss. Expound in detail for us, please, O great Rishi, world-honored one, O great refuge, O two-footed honored one, the wonderful one of all medicines. I now desire to inquire all about things, but I lack wisdom. Even all bodhisattvas who make utmost effort may not know such depths as the world of all Buddhas.
Then praising Bodhisattva Kasyapa, the Buddha said, well said, O good man. You have not yet arrived at all knowledge, but I am he who has attained it. You now ask about the deepest depths of the undisclosed doctrine. Now, O good man, I, sitting under the Bodhi tree, first attained right enlightenment. At that time, in all Buddha lands, as numerous as the sands of countless asamkayas of Ganges, there were bodhisattvas. They too asked of me the meaning of this deepest doctrine. And what they said and the virtue thereof were thus, the same, not different. Asking thus, great benefits accrue to all beings. Then Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, the power of my wisdom does not extend thus far as to put such deep questions to the Tathagata. O world-honored one, this is like a mosquito or sawfly that cannot fly over a great sea or fly around in the high heavens. The same with me, I have no power to ask the Tathagata about this great sea of wisdom, or the meaning of the great depths of space-like extension of Dharmata. O world-honored one, this is like a king who hands over to the hands of the officer in charge of treasures a bright gem that was housed in the knot of his hair, and the officer on receiving it increases the guard. The same is the case with me. Having received the depths of the Tathagata's Mahayana teaching, I shall guard it all the more carefully. Why? This is but to make me attain the great depths of wisdom.
Then the Buddha said to Kasyapa, O good man, listen carefully, listen carefully. I shall now tell you the cause of the Tathagata's longevity of life. The Bodhisattva, through this action, gains long life. For this reason, listen with your best attention. Having listened, speak of it to others. O good man, having thus practiced, I attained unsurpassed Bodhi. I, for all beings' sake, now speak of this. O good man, as an example, a prince transgresses against state law and is chained up in prison. The king pities him and, riding on a palanquin, goes himself to the prison because he loves the prince. The same with the Bodhisattva. If he desires to have a long life, he should guard and protect beings and view them as one would one's only son, and abide in great loving kindness, great compassion, great joy, and great equanimity. Also, he should impart the precept of non-harming to them and teach them to practice all good things. Also, he must let all beings abide peacefully in the 5 moral precepts and the 10 good deeds. Furthermore, he will get into such realms as hell, hungry preta, animal, and asura, and free all these beings from where they are suffering, emancipate those not yet emancipated, pass over those who have not yet gained the other shore, give nirvana to those who have not yet attained it, and console all who live in fear. Acting thus, the Bodhisattva gains longevity of life and unmolested freedom in knowing. And when the end comes, he gains life in the high heavens. Then Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, you say that the Bodhisattva Mahasattva regards all beings just as one views one's only son. The thought is too deep, and I cannot fathom it. O world-honored one, you say that the Bodhisattva views beings with an all-equal mind and views them as he would look upon his only son. But things are not so. Why not? Amongst the Buddhists, there are those who break the moral precepts, those who commit deadly sins, and those who transgress against the wonderful Dharma. How can it be that he can have the same mind towards them as towards his only son? The Buddha said to Kasyapa, "It is so, it is so. I view all beings as I view my own Rahula."
Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, once on the 15th of the month, on the day of Posada, among the congregated who were strict and pure in the moral precepts, there was a boy who did not quite seriously observe the three actions of body, mouth, and mind. He hid himself in a dark place and secretly listened to what was said. Guyapada, receiving the divine power of the Buddha, crushed this boy into dust with a vajra.
A vajra is the Tibetan, I believe it's that Tibetan lightning bolt, and it's expedience.
O world-honored one, Guyapada acted so badly that the boy's life was taken. How could you look upon all beings as you would do your own Rahu? The Buddha said to Kasyapa, do not speak thus. This boy was none but a transformed one, not a true one.
I think it's the same thing. Did you want me to read?
This was but to repress breaking of the precepts and transgression against Buddha Dharma and to remold beings. Even the Vajra and also Guyapada were transformed existences. O Kasyapa, there are in the world those who slander wonderful Dharma. Ikchantikas, those who harm others, those who abide in twisted views, those who purposely act contrary to the moral precepts. I pity all and have loving thought, just as one has towards one's only son, as in the case of Rahula, O good man. To illustrate, when the officers of the royal court break state law, the king punishes according to the rules relating to the sins committed and does not leave the officers unpunished. The Tathagata does not act thus. He makes those who violate the precepts undergo such procedures as being driven out, reprimanded, put under surveillance, impeached, or banished for non-confirming of the sins committed, for non-repentance, and for non-forsaking of twisted views. The reason, O good man, why the Tathagata imposes the suppressive moral precepts on those who slander Dharma arises from the fact that he desires to show those who transgress that karmic consequences ensue for what has been done, or for what one has done. O good man, know that the Tathagata desires to bestow on evil beings what need not be feared. He emits 1, 2, or 5 beams so that those who encounter this light will be rid of all evil acts. Now the Tathagata has so many uncountable means of such power. O good man, if you desire to see Dharma, which cannot be seen, I will now explain to you all about what you can see. When I have entered Nirvana, a bhiksu who is perfect in the deportment of a bhiksu and who observes wonderful Dharma may come across one who transgresses. If this bhiksu drives away, reproaches, impeaches, or remolds such an evildoer, he will be blessed with weal, which one cannot measure or tell of. Oh, good man, to illustrate, there is a tyrant king who does evil things and happens to suffer very seriously from illness. The king of a neighboring state, hearing of this, mobilizes the army to overthrow the state. At this, the king, having no power to resist the attack, repents and tries to do good. And the weal of the king of this neighboring state will be uncountable. The same with the precept observing bhiksu. If he drives away or reproaches those who act against Dharma and makes them do good, an incalculable weal will be his. O good man, as an illustration, in the fields and around the houses where a rich man dwells grow many poisonous trees. Seeing this, he fells all of them, and there is no more of them. Poor white hair appears on the head of a young man. He feels ashamed of it, cuts it off, and does not allow his hair to grow long. The same is the case with the precept upholding bhiksu. If he sees any person who breaks the precepts and transgresses against wonderful Dharma, he should drive away, reproach, or impeach such a person. If a good bhiksu, seeing one who transgresses against Dharma, does not drive away, reproach, or impeach such a person, know that this bhiksu is the enemy of the Buddhist teaching. If he drives away, reproaches, or impeaches such a one, he is my disciple, a true disciple.
Bodhisattva Kasyapa said again to the Buddha, O world-honored one, you may say that you look upon all beings equally and treat them as you would an only son such as Rahula. This is not so, O world-honored one. A person may try to harm you with a sword, or there may be someone who tries to paint the Buddha's body with sandalwood paste. If it is the case that you will view both persons with the same eye, how could you cure moral offenses? If it is the case that this cures moral offenses, this does not make sense. The Buddha said to Kasyapa, an illustration, O good man, the king, minister, and prime minister may desire to bring up their sons who are right set in countenance and sharp in intellect. One of those fathers takes 1, 2, 3, 4 such sons and hands them over to a strict teacher and says to him, please teach my sons deportment, good behavior, the arts, writing, and reckoning. These, my 4 sons, will study under your guidance. Even if 3 of my sons die of goading, teach the last with whatever means you may think fit. I may lose 3, but I shall not be vexed. O Kasyapa, are the father and the teacher responsible for killing? No, world-honored one. Why not? Because a loving mind was at the bottom. What there is accomplishment, but not an evil mind. Such teaching will be met with good to a limitless extent. O good man, the same is the case with the Tathagata. He views those who transgress Dharma as he views his only son. The Tathagata now entrusts unsurpassed wonderful Dharma to the hands of kings, ministers, prime ministers, bhiksus, bhiksunis, upasakas, and upasikas. All of these kings and 4 classes of the Buddhist Sangha will encourage those who practice the Buddhist teaching to enable them increasingly to observe the moral precepts, practice meditation and wisdom. If there are any who miscarry these 3 phases of Dharma, and if there are those who are indolent and who break the moral precepts, the kings, ministers, and 4 classes of Buddhist Sangha will work hard to remold such people. O good man, should all these kings and 4 classes of the Buddhist Sangha be blamed or not? No, indeed, world-honored one. O good man, these kings and 4 classes of Buddhist Sangha are not to be blamed. How could it be that the Tathagata is to be blamed? O good man, the Tathagata well observed such impartiality, looking upon all people as one would one's only son. Such a one who practices the way is called one who practices the all equal mind of a bodhisattva, and one who possesses a mind that loves an only son. O good man, the bodhisattva practicing thus gained a long life, and is now able to see what took place in the past. Bodhisattva Kasyapa said again to the Buddha, O world-honored one, you say that a bodhisattva practicing impartiality can well view beings just as one views one's only son, and that such a person gains a long life. But you should not say this. Why not? One who knows Dharma indeed speaks well of filial duty. But back home, he beats his parents with tiles and gravel. Oh, filial, like family duty.
No,
The fact.
actually, no. Filial duty it means loyalty.
Oh, good to know.
mean,
Okay, thank you.
It's a different form of the word for fealty.
Fealty. Interesting.
Like in the old times, the knights, the knights of castles would owe their fealty to the king.
Oh, okay.
It means loyalty, or patronage, or patronage, a loyalty. It's usually based on debt
Oh, interesting.
and service. It's an exchange of services, and so for your security, there's loyalty, and I scratch your back and you scratch mine, kind of thing. Yeah, like that.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Like a lord and the servants, or lord and his lord and his the people that support him.
Yeah.
Peasants. Yeah, like that.
No.
Yeah, see, I like serfs, exactly, serfs, not smurfs, but serfs.
Good to know.
Exactly, the lord and his serfs, exactly. Yeah. All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay. One who knows Dharma indeed speaks well of filial duty, but back home he beats his parents with tiles and gravel. The fact that one's parents are the best field of wheel where much wheel comes about, such as is most difficult to encounter, where the person should be making offerings, he performs evil. There is a distinction between what this person knows and what he does. What the Tathagata says is also like this. The Bodhisattva practices impartiality and views beings as an only son, and he gains a long life, can look into the past and live eternally, and there cannot be any change. Now, why is it that the world-honored one is like a person with the shortest life in the world? Does not the Tathagata entertain hatred against all beings? O world-honored one, what evil acts did you perform in the past? How many evil acts did you commit? And as to gain the shortest life, which does not even extend to 100 years. The Buddha said to Kasyapa, O good man, under what circumstances do you bring across your lips all such rough-hewn words against the Tathagata? The life of the Tathagata is the longest and most superior of longest lives. His eternal Dharma is the unsurpassed of all eternal things. Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, how did you, the Tathagata, gain eternal life? The Buddha said, to Bodhisattva Kasyapa, O good man, there are 8 great rivers, which are Ganges, Yamuna, Sarabu, Ajitavati, Mahi, Indus, Pasu, and Sita. All these 8 rivers and other small rivers drain into the great ocean. O Kasyapa, all the great rivers of life of all people, heaven, earth, and sky, drain into the Tathagata's sea of life. Hence, the length of life of the Tathagata is incalculable. Also, next, O Kasyapa, as an illustration, it is like the case of Lake Anavatapta, which gives rise to the 4 rivers. The same with the Tathagata. He gives rise to all long lifespans. O Kasyapa, as an example of all eternal things, that of space is the foremost. The same as the case with the Tathagata. He is the foremost of all eternal things. O Kasyapa, this is as in the case of Sarpirmanda, the first of all medicines. The same is the case with the Tathagata. He is the one who possessed of the longest life. Bodhisattva Kasyapa said again to the Buddha, if the life of the Tathagata is thus, you must live for a kalpa or less than a kalpa and be delivering sermons in the way the great rain falls. O Kasyapa, do not entertain the thought of extinction regarding the Tathagata. O Kasyapa, there may be amongst the bhikshus, bhikshunis, upasakas, upasikas, or even amongst the tritikas, a person who possesses the 5 divine powers or the unmolested power of a rishi. He may live a kalpa or less than a kalpa. He may be able to fly through the air and be unmolested, whether he is reclining or sitting. He emits fire from the left side of his body, or water from his right. He emits smoke and flames like a fireball. But if he desires to live long, he can do as he wills. He can freely lengthen or shorten his life. With such divine power, he has such freedom of power. And how could this not be possible with the Tathagata, who possesses unmolested power in all things? How could it not be that he can live for half a kalpa, 100 kalpas, or 100,000 kalpas, or innumerable kalpas? On account of this, know that the Tathagata is an eternal and unchanging existence. The Tathagata's body is a transformed body, and not one supported by various kinds of food. In order to pass beings to the other shore, he manifests himself amidst poisonous trees. Hence he manifests himself discarding his carnal body and entering nirvana. Know, O Kasyapa, that the Buddha is an eternal and unchanging existence. O all of you, practice the way in this Paramartha Satya. Make effort and practice the way with one mind. Having practiced the way, expound it widely to others.
Then Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, what difference exists between supramundane dharma and the mundane? You say that the Buddha is in existence eternal and unchanging. If so, in worldly life too, we have Brahma, who is eternal, and also Isvara, who is eternal, and no changing is there. The eternal nature of self too is eternal. Even a mote is also said to be eternal. if the Tathagata is an eternal existence, why does the Tathagata not always show in this way? If it is that you do not exist thus, what difference could we see? Why? Because Brahma, the most experience, existence, and Prakriti and Prakriti also do not manifest thus.
Buddha said to Kasyapa, a rich man has many cows whose colors vary. Nonetheless, they are all of one group. They are entrusted to the hands of a cowherd who takes them to watery or grassy land. Solely Sarpirmanda is sought, not fresh milk or cream. The cattleman, having milked the cows, takes the milk himself. When the rich man dies, the cows are stolen by robbers. They get the cows, but having no women, they themselves milk the cows. The robbers say to one another, the rich man fed these cows for Sarpirmanda, not for fresh milk or cream. What should we do? Now Sarpirmanda is the best of all tastes in the world. We have no utensils and no place to keep it safe. They also say to one another, we have a bag made of hide. We shall keep it in that. Although we have a thing to keep the milk in, we do not know how to churn it. It is hard to obtain what we could. It is hard to obtain what we could drink. How could we gain fresh butter? At that, the robbers, because Saripirmanda was what they were after, added water to the milk. But because they added too much water, the fresh milk, cream, and Saripirmanda were all lost. The same with common mortals. There are good teachings, but all are the residues of the wonderful Dharma of the Tathagata. How? The Tathagata entered nirvana. Later, we steal what was left behind, i.e. the precepts, samadhi, and wisdom. This is like the robbers stealing the cows. All common mortals obtain the precepts, samadhi, and wisdom, but they have no means of working them out. Hence, they never gain the eternal precepts, the eternal samadhi, and eternal wisdom, and emancipation. This is like the robbers not having the means to work out, thus losing the Sarpirmanda, or it is like the robbers adding water when they meant to gain Saripirmanda. The same with common mortals. Referring to emancipation, beings say that self, being, life, man, Brahma, Isvara, Prakriti, and the precepts samadhi, wisdom, emancipation, or thoughtless, non-thoughtlessness, heaven, or nirvana is nirvana. This, however, does not give one emancipation or nirvana. This is like the robbers failing to gain Saripirmanda. Common mortals do small-scale pure actions and make offerings to their parents. Then they gain rebirth in heaven and attain small-scale bliss. This is like the milk to which the robbers add water. And common mortals do not themselves know the fact that one gets born in heaven by small-scale pure actions and making offerings to one's parents. Also, they do not know that the moral precepts, samadhi, wisdom, and taking refuge in the three treasures. Not knowing, they talk about eternity, bliss, self, and purity. Though they talk, they do not know what these are. Hence, after taking birth in this life, the Tathagata talks about eternity, bliss, self, and purity. A Chakrabartin appears in the world by the power of virtue. all the robbers pull back, and there is no loss of any cows. Then the Chakravartin entrusts the cows to the hands of a cowherd who knows the way. This person works out the means well to obtain Sari Pramanda. Due to the Sari Pramanda, there is no illness or pain for any being. It is like this. When the Chakravartin of the wheel of Dharma appears in the world, all beings abandon these because they cannot talk about the precepts, samadhi, and wisdom. This is like the pulling back of the robbers. Then the Tathagata indeed speaks of the secular and supramundane things. For the benefit of beings, he lets the Bodhisattva talk as the occasion arises. The Bodhisattva Mahasattva, on gaining Sarpirmanda, lets all the innumerable beings gain the unsurpassed manna of Dharma. The eternity, bliss, self, and purity of the Tathagata thus comes about. The Tathagata is one who is eternal and unchanging. This is not in the manner in which common mortals and the ignorant of the world say that Brahma is eternal. This eternality is always with the Tathagata and not with whatever else. O Kasyapa, all good men and good women should always carefully practice the way of the two-lettered Buddha, who is eternal. O Kasyapa, any good man or good woman who practices the way of the two-lettered, such a one accords with what I do and gets born where I go. If any person practices the two letters and sees it as extinction, know that the Tathagata enters parinirvana to such a one. O good man, nirvana is the dharmata of all Buddhas.
That last line was really interesting.
Yeah.
That too, the one about the entering, yeah, read two lines back.
Any good man or good woman who practices the way of the two-lettered, such a one accords with what I do and gets born where I go.
And then read again, the next line.
If any person practices the two letters and sees it as extinction, know that the Tathagata enters parinirvana to such a one.
Yeah, do you see that? Enters parinirvana to such a one, not to the Buddha.
And not to everybody.
Not to everybody, yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that is crazy. That's really cool.
The unskillful practice of what did they say they were practicing? Extinction.
Well, sees it as extinction.
Sees it, yeah, that it still counts apparently, even though it would be something we would not want anyone to practice, because extinction is the nihilism. It's the thinking that nothing exists.
Mm.
I mean, this is general. I'm giving general synopsis of it, but it could apply to a whole bunch of other things. It could apply to asceticism, or could be asceticism. Yeah.
Yeah, my impression of the Tathagata enters parinirvana is, he moves on, or the Tathagata moves on.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we know that through our experience, the Tathagata is not binded. So as to say, like, if a person practices and sees extinction in the practice, that doesn't mean that if they correct their view of the practice, the Tathagata can't come back.
Right. It's all states in one, and thus is the meaning of that the statue of the 100-handed Bodhisattva with all the arms. It can be all the states at one time. So because it's based on your view of it. It's kind of like if you were to stand, let's say, at a huge jewel, and the jewel stood in the middle of this stadium, and you were able to walk around this jewel, all different angles and heights. You know, your view would be different than everybody else's view. It doesn't change it doesn't change the gem, but the view of the gem is, each view is different.
Yeah.
And some views of it are an incomplete view of the whole thing, and so you have limited results. And if you believe a gem isn't real because you believe that it's matter of perception is unreal, then that would be that extinction. Yeah. Yeah.
Question for you. I don't think I've ever seen it referred to as two-lettered. The way of the two-lettered. I can speculate, but do you have any reference to that?
I don't. No, I don't. It would be really speculative too. I'm surprised there's no reference to it there.
I mean, I could think of it as he says like eternal and non-eternal, like
Yeah,
dualistic.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Dualistic. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Existing and non-existing. It's like they're two-lettered. Yeah.
Online, it's referring to language, like syllables, but I don't know.
No,
that seems too simple.
You mean two-lettered in terms of Buddhism or in terms of grammar?
In terms of, I guess here we go. Online, it doesn't look like there's at least the AI overview piece here. There's no specific two-letter word that means Buddha. Okay, so there's some confusion here.
It's answering you literally. To mean two letters, period. Yeah, like A and B. Yeah. No, it couldn't be. Yeah. Yeah, that we would. Yeah, it would definitely not be. There is no Buddhist two-lettered. Nothing that I know of. Yeah, no. There's not even any symbols either. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe he'll
Could it be
expound on it
Om?
more.
Could it be Om? Oh, hey, Corey.
It's 2 letters.
It could be. He did talk about the Brahman.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Very cool. Very cool insight. Yeah, entirely possible. Yeah.
Huh.
I'm not that familiar with Om and all of its meaning, so I can't even make a comparison other than to agree that you know it more than I do.
Yeah, from what I know, it's just kind of used to describe, like, it can be a mantra, but I see it more in Hinduism than Buddhism, but it's kind of like an equally accepted term in both, from what I know.
Yeah. I wonder how it would apply to what he's talking about. How would it apply?
And that's where I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
The way,
Yeah.
like, kind of like filling it in to the blank,
Right.
because it kind of means like meditative, something meditative, like some kind of state. So I'm not sure.
Huh. Yeah. 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 I would be speculating. I don't know either. I guess it warrants further research, definitely, because it's wrong to assume that we know, and it's good that we bring it up.
Well, because then it follows with if any person practices the 2 letters. So it continues to talk about it. So it has to mean something with some amount of weight.
Yep, it does. It does. And not knowing is really not satisfactory. I'm using my phone to access this meeting, and it probably, I have my computer on. Here, I'll look it up. You keep reading, Jasmine.
Okay. Actually, I was gonna move into our Sangha sharing or the Dana Paramita. But I'm searching for this term two-lettered in the sutra to see if it comes up again in the future.
Oh yeah.
That would be good. Nope. This is the only place in the sutra that that specific instance of two-lettered is referenced. So he doesn't explain it. Maybe just two-letter.
I'm reading about it. If you want to continue, I'll do what I can to read through this, these different descriptions.
Okay. Yeah, we can read another paragraph. Get rid of sleep. Okay, we can read a little bit more.
Oh, here's possible.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it refers to the two entrances, one of principle and one of practice. And that ties into the what you were saying earlier about the
Mundane
fealty.
and super mundane. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fealty is loyalty with which you enter, you have an entrance, a principle. You practice because it's a fealty, an effort, a fealty, whereas the experience of it, you can often spend your whole life dutifully doing things, but have no experience of why you're doing them. Have no experience with what you are doing at all. Just doing isn't just so I can, yeah, and then the image that is portrayed numerously reflects and says a person that shows perfect attitude toward the practice of the precepts, and then goes home and throws what did he say, gravel on his
And
parents?
tiles.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Wow.
That would be a principle, because he believes that the actions are only just actions; they're not experiences.
Oh yeah, and he did go on. Yeah, he did go on to connect that, saying that, there are people whose minds and actions are not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's supported in Japan. This is important. It's supported in Japanese Buddhism. Here it says two entrances, and that one is an entrance of principle and the other is an entrance of practice. So, yeah, very good. I think this makes this. What?
Did you find something, Robert? He was trying to get my attention.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you share? Thank you. I think it's good to open it up though.
I have the two entrances as well. It talks about an early Chan or Zen Buddhism attributed to Bodhidharma. Also talks about the two ways to enter the path: entrance by reason or entrance by conduct. Entrance by reason is realizing the true nature through scripture and meditation, and entrance by conduct is the four practices of embracing retribution, adapting to conditions, non-seeking, and according with the Dharma. Yeah, that's just one thing I found.
Cool. Well, the other one you said there were two.
No, the two entrances. Same thing that you did, just with different terminology.
Yeah, it sounds like the exact same meaning. That the one is the practice Dharma because of ritual, and the other is the experience of the Dharma with quiet mind. Yeah, this makes this sutra worth its weight today and last couple weeks. It's been a hard sutra because there's a lot. It's very wordy, very, very wordy. I mean, all he's doing is teaching the very same thing he teaches in the Shrangama Sutra, but he is definitely having a hard time reaching people and getting them to understand it. So these are people that already have a full understanding, and they think
Well,
they know, but they don't know. And so
I think
it's yeah.
on that, I think that they're freaked out because he's dying. So they're being more bold. They probably have had this level of understanding the entire time. They just haven't been bold enough to say, "Hey, man, that doesn't make sense." But now that he's
Yeah,
dying,
exactly.
it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
it doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, they weren't experiencing it for themselves. They were just ritualizing it, and
I can't
that's
imagine how disheartening it is to hear something like, "We're too lowly to experience what you're teaching."
yeah, or having believed that your students. Well, that's pretty much
Yeah.
now is that as a university study, more along the lines of elementary school, the kids get by with not knowing, the basics because they can, because the assessment is not very, very thorough. And so they get by with it until they can't anymore. And then the Buddha is dying. You can't fake it anymore. You got to know, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
that's a really good sutra. And notice that the Buddha doesn't get angry. And notice that the Buddha doesn't say, "Well, what do you mean? Why haven't you been doing what I told you to do?"
Honestly, he's been the most patient I've ever heard him in a sutra. In this sutra.
Yeah, it's pretty patient. That's
Yeah.
pretty darn patient. Yeah. He wouldn't be entering into nirvana if he couldn't be.
True. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll mark the end point for us. And then while I'm doing this and saving the file, just think of, what you want to share for your Sangha sharing. Try and get used to calling it by that new name, Dana Paramita.
Cool.